going on.
I know. All right. So looks like we're live. Sorry, but like Dave said, Dave, do you mind if I call you Dave?
Sure.
Is that fine?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Dave, so I got the Eye of Sauron. I got the Son of Sauron blasting me right here. I'm in my basement, and it's not fully below grade, but it's, halfway, and it's just cutting right through. It should go away though. But so welcome to everybody.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming on, man. I intended this to just kind of talk about, the latest videos you drop, what's on your radar as far as Second Amendment stuff, upcoming videos, general Second Amendment topics. But today, and I didn't plan it this way, but it happens to be not only 9/11, the 24th anniversary of 9/11. So we want to commemorate that, the Benghazi attack. And we just had that horrible assassination of Charlie Kirk yesterday. And even if you guys aren't a fan or want to get into politics or anything like that, which I don't, but that was just a man who was up there talking. I mean, this person that killed him, you killed the peacemaker, bro. That was the guy that was willing to go out and just talk to people.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're on X, but X is, whoo. I mean, people are calling for war over this. I mean, it's bad.
Yeah.
And you killed the one guy that was willing to go out and just talk to everybody. Now people are to the point they don't want to talk anymore. They want to fight. And that's not going to be good for anybody. And I also want to emphasize, I don't know if you saw the full unedited video, but for people that have never had to dispatch animals with firearms or anything like that, that was 4K, that was full view, 4K of what firearms do to human beings. And it is violent, and it is disgusting.
Yeah.
And people need to think about that. That's something they need to prepare their minds for. Seeing that, I mean, you saw a father, a husband, a man of God die right there on TV instantly. So it's just, I wanted to, just mention him, and kind of, we can move on to other topics after that. But I think that was all around bad day. Say that again.
I was gonna say there's a lot to unpack with all of
that.
that. I mean, just the topics that you talked about, we could probably talk all night on.
Oh yeah.
Because, I mean, so I definitely have a political leaning, and it's pretty transparent on my channel. And candidly, almost all our followers will have similar leanings, right? So, but yeah, I mean, that, I think you bring up a great point, that this is a guy, I mean, he got under people's skin, right? And he would argue and debate you. But I was talking to my teenage daughter tonight, who has had so many influences in her life outside, because she goes to public school, right? So she gets so many influences out. So we were trying to like unpack a lot of it, because a fair number of her friends and teachers tend to be more liberal, and as they tend to be in public schools, and just, we've tried to unpack, what he was doing, and she was telling me, well, a lot of my friends, think he's awful, like he's terrible. It's like, well, what is terrible? Like, and I talked through several of the subjects. It's like he talked about subjects we're no longer allowed to talk about, and haven't been able to for about 30 years. Right? He talked about faith. He talked about Christianity. Right? That's become taboo, right? I think it was our generation where prayer in the school was canceled, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So, like, I remember it was brave. Like, someone just went up and said the closing prayer at our graduation. And it was, and it was around that, like, because there were lawsuits and other things like that, but people through it. Like, I don't think anyone even tries anymore, right? But that was, again, public school. And that
was all planned, by the way.
but yeah, but
Yeah, it was all by design.
Those things have been like, now it's not only you can't pray, it's you can't talk about it. And if you do talk about your faith in Christianity, then you're an evil person. And somehow by you talking about your faith, that hurts me physically.
Yeah.
Right. And that's, and I tried to explain, like, that doesn't make any sense. These are words, these are beliefs. Why can't you talk about your beliefs? Why can't I talk about mine? Charlie talked about his beliefs, and he was unabashed about it. And we talked about, just some of the statistics, racial statistics for violence, right?
Yeah.
That they're inconvenient truths for people that don't want to bring up, they only want to bring up race in a certain setting and not in another setting.
Oh,
Right.
sure.
And I said, it's not, again, it's not. And they would say he's a racist, he's a whatever, and those types of things. And I was like, that's not racist to cite facts.
No.
Like, and that's where a lot of her friends, that's where a lot of people, and they get upset and they go away. Like, when you're in a debate with someone, your biggest tactic, like as a debater, my wife was like a great debater in high school and stuff. Like, one of the tactics is to get your opponent like out of their logical brain and into like some attack space.
Yes.
Right. Where they go away from their facts and they start moving to some type
emotions.
Yeah. And once they're in that space, you have them. Right.
Yeah.
Because they can't respond. They're like, well, you're a jerk. Right. I mean,
you lost the argument at that point.
Yeah. And Charlie would often get people to that point because he would use facts that they hadn't heard of because it was taboo to speak them. Right. And then therefore the people were just mad. And therefore the only excuse was that. But you're right. He was out talking to people. I read a post on X that has really stuck with me. It was a lady who said, look, I disagreed with Charlie on 100% of all items. She said, I'm a lesbian atheist, and she said, but when we debated, he was respectful. He listened to my side of the argument. I didn't agree with his arguments. I didn't like his arguments, but he listened to me. I listened to him. In the end, we shook hands. We went our separate ways. She said, that was meaningful. And she said, we've lost something. And she was, she was mourning his loss, even though in some sense you're your opponent, right? But in a fair fight, right? So, I mean, it was just, it's sad. So I don't know. I'll shut up. I
yeah, no. That's absolutely right. Whenever you're right. Whenever you result to ad hominem attacks or physical attacks in a debate of ideas, you've lost. But the problem is it wasn't hard for him because, this is my personal opinion, it's not hard for him because their ideas and they're built on a house of cards. They're weak ideas, and so it was easy for, they didn't like, he got under their skin because he would beat them, he would mollywop them in debates. He was a very good debater, just like you said. And if for people that genuinely or generally are emotionally immature, which a lot of the people on the left are, they tend to be, I think, people on the right, it's been my experience, tend to be more logical and factual based when they present arguments, and people on the left tend to be more emotional, get whipped up quickly and all this other kind of stuff. But yeah, he didn't, he was out there talking, and now that was his whole shtick, just trying to go out there and talk to people, a debate of ideas.
Yep.
And they killed him for it.
And Matt, what I'm I think most, like, I feel like I'm in mourning.
Yeah.
Right. And what
this one gets different.
Yeah. Something's changed.
It
what
has.
I am now fearful about is that we crossed a line.
Yeah.
And
we crossed the Rubicon.
Yep. There's a new Rubicon.
Yeah.
And political assassinations are back on the menu. Now let's think about this. This isn't the first time this country's been through this.
No.
50s, 60s were pretty tumultuous. We had Bobby, we had John F., we had Martin Luther King. Yep. Like, I mean, there were some pretty high profile figures that were being taken out.
Yeah.
and treating in political assassinations were treated, it was happening,
Yeah.
right? So it's not the first time our country. So to say we're so far past this, right? I mean, that happens, right? But I don't know, something feels different. And what I'm most worried about is that we're just going to start seeing tit for tat with it.
Yeah.
We're going to start to see, okay, there's going to be some wacko conservative. Look, we all
Yeah.
have wackos,
Yeah.
right? Humans are humans. Whether you're conservative or liberal, you believe in your dogma, right? And there's wackos on each extreme. There's logic on both extremes. I get that, but what's going to happen is there will be some person who's motivated based off of this and capable. Again, you don't have to be very capable, as we saw with that rifle. We can talk about that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to be that capable, that will do something like this, and then there will be retribution,
Yeah.
retaliation, and then
It's going to be back and forth.
and
Yeah.
then whoever's in charge will make the rules up against the other, and so I don't know when there's some type of collapse or maybe some external event pulls us together, like World War II did, like the Civil War did, right? I
Like
mean,
9/11. Remember,
9/11
remember
pulled
the
us together.
attitude in the country during
Don't you remember?
9/11?
Don't you remember them singing "America the Beautiful" on the steps of the
The
Capitol?
Capitol.
What,
Yeah.
Democrats and Republicans?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
So
And I
I'm
didn't even,
worried.
and the funny thing is, like a lot of people said, I didn't even agree with a lot of Charlie Kirk stuff. I thought he was more milk toast. I mean, I'm far right. I'm not mustache man far right, but I am very right leaning. And I always thought of Charlie. He presented great arguments about a lot of things, but he was kind of milk toast in the middle. I was kind of like, I don't know if I necessarily agree with him on that, but I didn't. I sure as heck didn't want death, that for him, and his wife and kids were there. And it's just, it's ridiculous. But you're right. This one, I don't know why, but to me, it feels like even more anger than when President Trump was shot at.
Yeah.
Now, President Trump didn't die, obviously,
I
and he
think
was
I do
grazed
think
in the
that's a
ear.
big factor, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
I was just thinking about that myself. Why am I more than then? I was pretty charged up then. I was
Yeah.
very charged up then, but somehow somewhat sedated when I heard he was okay.
Yeah. Yep. And
But
and we immediately saw him get up and say,
yeah.
fight, fight, fight. So
Yeah,
we
it was
knew
motivating. It was
yeah,
encouraging. It was like, he's
yeah,
going to win this election. Like,
yeah.
you're not going to stop us. We're going to fight,
Yep.
fight, fight.
When I opened up X, and the funny thing is I randomly, like, I don't go on X a lot. And I just happened to open up X, and the first video popped up was him getting shot. And as soon as I saw that hit, I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, he's not going to make it.
Yeah.
Anybody that's done any hunting, I know you got
Yeah.
footage of you in your intro where you're hunting, so I assume you've hunted before. That's probably a good assumption. So,
Yeah. With the
yeah,
camera behind me.
right. So the real, what firearms do to living things, and they are violent uh, when that type of stuff happens, and so it's just, it's insane. A lot of us do this stuff. We have fun. We talk about our fun guns, and we have fun with it. We target practice, and we shoot a lot of paper, and we do all this other kind of stuff. But I wonder if sometimes we become disconnected to the real purpose of them and the real damage they can do. And now, you not only took his life, but you riled up, speaking to the person that did this, you riled up an entire country and a movement, but you've negatively affected two young babies and his wife and all that other kind of stuff. I mean, this is, yeah, but it looks like they did. I guess they're on the trail of this, every 5 minutes or so
Yeah.
we're getting updates. Looks like they recovered the gun, and it was either 30-06 or something, like a hunting rifle maybe.
Yeah,
So
look, the big question for me, like, what's funny is, as a gun guy, I'm obviously not a very good gun guy, because I heard a Mauser, and somehow in my mind, I heard a Mosin. I
Yeah.
read I read Mauser. It
Mauser.
translated into my brain Mosin. So I
Yeah.
had in my mind a World War I, World War II, Mosin Nagant,
Yeah.
Woodstock. In my mind is like, well, it's probably Milsurp. And I was
Yep.
like, well, 200 yards with iron sights, that you can do it.
Yeah.
But if you were my first thought was he was probably aiming center of mass, and
Hmm.
that's just where the bullet went, whether he jerked or was off centered or whatever.
Yeah.
But now we know it was a scoped rifle, and he
Right.
was obviously in the prone position,
Yep.
and so he was, he was laying up on that rooftop. Had a great, you get great bench rest, and with the scope, 200 yards, you probably only need a 6 power scope to be right on. And
Chip
again,
shot.
I still feel he probably wasn't aiming for the spot he hit. That's an
Right.
odd, as a hunter, as video games, as
Yeah.
whatever, you
Yeah.
aim for that. Like you go for a headshot, you go for a
Yeah.
body shot, right? That doesn't
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And somebody made some good points. We all sight our rifles in at on level ground, and he
Yeah,
was elevated. So there's different, you know,
yeah. It could have been
ballistics
aiming his
that
chest
you have to
going
right.
up.
And I
Could
don't
have
know
been
if you've
aiming.
seen this, but there is people have been slowing down footage. I saw it and I'm like, it looks like they're saying that it looks like it because he was wearing a vest, that it
Mm,
looks like it hit his vest and
mm,
a piece of it came off and hit him in the neck. I don't know. The slow motion footage looks really convincing because you see what it looks like the shock in the chest and the vest kind of undulate by getting hit, and then it looks like a piece of. So I don't know if he had maybe a trauma plate in there and it hit, and then I don't know. We'll find out later,
yeah,
probably. But I think you're right. I said the same thing. There's people out there like this was a professional assassin. I said, come on, guys. With that type of rifle, even untrained, you could go out and practice with 100 rounds and get it basically sighted in and hit a man-sized torso
yeah,
easily at 200.
yeah. I think the getting the hit at 200 yards is one or two range trips for like just from going from nothing,
Yes.
right? One or two range trips, and but that doesn't mean he hit what he was aiming at. I mean,
Exactly.
he hit the
It
target
was a
and he got
hit, and it did the
effective on
job.
it.
It
Yeah,
right.
but I will tell you, like I've had shots on animals that I got them where I wasn't aiming too.
Yeah. I got
So
my very first deer. It's funny. A very first deer I ever got, 220 yards standing. I was out there with my buddies hunting for probably a week or more. We didn't see nothing. So I'm getting discouraged. You're sitting out there in the woods
yep,
for hours, and some days you don't see nothing, and some days you see everything. So we're getting discouraged, and I'm walking to a new hide, and I crest this hill, and there's three of them down by this little creek. This is in Virginia, and I'm like, and I had these shooting sticks. I dropped the sticks, and I raised the gun, and I just pow fired, and I hit one. I was like, yeah! I hit it a little far back, and she went about 50 yards, and then couldn't get out that creek bed. We got her right there, but. Yeah, I just threw the rifle up and what the kids would call quick scoping in the video games or whatever. I
yeah,
just threw it up real quick and bang, and it got a hit. So it is, yeah, it is possible,
it's possible.
but
But so yeah, I don't believe they probably were a highly trained marksman. I don't think you had to have been. Just as this other guy missed Trump,
yeah,
this guy hit. Like that's
yeah,
my like. I don't think he had. We had the range logs. He went. I don't know. He probably went 8 or 9 times. That other guy, right?
yeah,
That shot Trump. They had the range logs, but but just as if he missed, this guy hit. In my opinion, they both were trying to aim, and circumstances made it a perfect hit in terms of lethality. And this is the other thing. And I see Joe Jones in the comment. I know
yeah,
he's former law enforcement. You're around this stuff. Like one time you'll get a perfect hit, and the animal, the person just keeps going. Like
yeah,
like they don't stop. The next time some random ricochet, and then the person just drops,
yeah.
right? Or the animal just drops, right? You skip it off the ground and it skips up and gets a
Oh
heart shot
yeah,
something like that, right? I mean, like it just like there's all of those variables in it
Yeah.
too. So,
Yeah.
but it's not like they
Sometimes you're lucky or unlucky depending on what side of the bullet you're on.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
I just worry. I'm just going back to this. This is my therapy session. I appreciate
mhm.
you
Yeah, no,
talking
no,
to me
no.
tonight.
This is
By the way, yeah,
listen, this is
we had this planned out long before this happened. By the way,
we did, and that's we had it about a week or more,
yeah,
and I was going to talk about, and we can still talk about it, your HK CC9
yeah,
and CC9, right? Yeah, CC9
yep,
and 43 video. Watch that, and just there's been some. I lost focus and track of everything because I know Mr. Guns and Gear posted a video where something with concealed carry or open carry in Florida was overturned, or
yeah,
but this has dominated the news cycle and it
yeah.
is relevant to a lot of what we do because of the firearm used and
And
political.
everyone on the left is now calling for gun control.
Yeah,
See,
yeah. How about that?
if they'd had gun control in Utah, because I know like I saw one state senator who's trying to remove carry restrictions on campuses, and like within like I don't even think Charlie was pronounced dead. The reporter was messaging this senator or representative, and the representative posted it on X and was like, "What a POS!
Yeah,
Like this,
yeah.
like it hasn't even he hasn't. We don't even know how he's doing yet, and you're
They
asking."
love, let me tell you something that I believe about the left. They love to dance in the blood of victims to advance their political ideology. And let's not be confused here. Their whole reason, it's not to save people, because if they wanted to save people, they would harden all the schools and stuff like
Right.
that. They
They
can't
don't
do
care
that
about
because
that.
then
They
they
just
would
want,
stop. They don't care about that because the ends justify the
yeah,
means for them. The
yeah,
more children's blood that runs in the streets, the more they can say, gun control, or
yeah,
ban guns, assault weapons. Yeah, they were out there screeching. I saw AOC screeching about assault weapons. The guy used a freaking hunting rifle. And the funny thing is, if you see, or the ironic thing is, you see, I don't know if you've seen pictures of the gun, it's out there. He's got the scope. The scope rings are mounted on the receiver, and then he's got the scope all the way back where the rings are bumping into the turrets. And so it was set up janky, just like
yeah.
the other two. That's why I think
Yeah.
you're correct. And
I don't.
he got lucky.
Yeah, I don't think he was anything. I mean, you look at that setup. He didn't probably know what he was doing, but I mean, but yeah, I mean, it's like like even Australia they have hunting rifles. Even
Yeah,
in
yeah.
France they have. In UK they have hunting rifles. You're not going to get rid of hunting rifles, and as long as and even let's say you do, people are gonna knife each other,
That's what
right? I mean, like
human beings
this
been
poor
using
Ukrainian
rocks. Yeah,
refugee, right? I
yeah,
mean, it's not, we're not on any kind of shortness of ways for humans to do bad towards each
yeah.
other. Like, but what we are short on is ability to defend ourselves and protect ourselves.
100%.
And so they're going to come after it, right? And if they were in power, there'd be 4 bills. And if this is Trump's first term, he might even have a bill, right?
Yeah,
Because he did that, he responded that way with the bump stocks.
yeah, he
Uh,
did.
yeah, and so I mean, it's just, but so unfortunately, it is a Second Amendment topic, right? Because
Hmm.
anything gets used against it, but and I haven't seen anything. There are reports again that this is potentially a trans slash Antifa. We don't know; they're unverified. That
Yeah,
was written on the bullet. I haven't seen anything like that, but we did see that with the Catholic
we
um,
did.
shooting.
Yep.
We saw some of that nonsense with. I think the Uvalde had some stuff on it too,
Yeah, yeah. Or they
but
had
at any rate,
manifestos and
yep.
they, you know,
Oh, that one person lady that went into the Christian school in Tennessee had all of
yeah,
that stuff written down in her
yeah,
manifesto, and
yep. And they write it all. They typically write it all over their guns and the
yep,
ammo and all this kind of stuff. I think
yep,
it's I think it's that. I think it's the seems like, and I know there'll be some examples where it's not happening, but seems like a lot of these people are on SSRIs or mood altering drugs,
yeah.
prescription drugs, and stuff like that. So
Well,
it's
because
just,
they're all suffering from mental illness, right? And
yeah,
they're trying to figure out ways to solve. And if you've ever had someone in your family and in your life, one of your loved ones suffering with with mental illness, it's so debilitating.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's, you want to do anything you can to help the person, and the person suffering wants to do anything they can, they think, to fix it. Right. I don't know like how many medical issues you've had in your life, but I know for sure, as I've struggled with a few, I'd be like, looking up online at 1 o'clock in the morning when I'm in pain, like, I wonder if there's a remedy for this, right? You're like,
Oh yeah.
okay, get some bat's wings and dip it in this. And
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm going to try that, and, uh, when you're in pain and suffering, you are willing to try anything. But I mean, that's the part of the medical community that is just absolutely failed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the other thing is they typically they are mentally ill. They're sad and very lonely people. They've bought into this ideology that has lied to them with this online stuff like that. And they feel like, a lot of them will say this, and they feel like they have nothing to lose. They have no wives, no children, no fulfilling career or anything like that. So they just sit online all day and doom scroll,
Yep.
and it just absorb all this hate and all these hateful ideologies. Um, and then they finally crack one day and act on it. So
Yeah. And I'm just, and I don't know, do you have any thoughts, Matt? Like, have you done much thinking, like, where's this going? Like, where does this play out? Like 3 years down the road, 10 years down the road? Like, what are we?
yeah, I've thought about it. It's and like you said, you have a teenage daughter. I got younger kids. I got a son that's in the Navy, and we homeschool our two youngest kids, 16 and 12, right now because of that type of stuff, because of the kookiness of the world. That's one of the reasons. Also, we moved out here from Virginia. We're like, we got to get fucking land and get off the grid. Not really, we're still on the
Yeah.
grid, but we got to
Yeah.
get away from these
Yeah.
suburbs and the DC area and all that other kind of stuff because of this craziness, because of the whole COVID thing and the lockdowns and the riots and But you're right. You made a good point. I've made points about that before. I guess during the 50s and the 60s, with the race riots and the Vietnam
Yep.
War and the Black Panther. A lot of people forget the Black Panthers bombed the Capitol building, or Weather Underground. I'm sorry, the Black
Weather
Panthers.
Underground. Yep.
Weather Underground bombed the Capitol building, what, 2, 3 times? The Black
Yep.
Panthers took over the
Yeah.
Capitol armed.
Yep.
They took over the Capitol, but they had that famous shootout. I think it was in LA, where they were in the basement of it and just, I mean, them and
Yep.
the cops were having a gunfight for hours until the cops burned the building down. But it was crazy back then. But I think one of the problems one of the negatives of the instant access in the media is we can see everything right now. If you lived in a town back in the 60s, you either heard by word of mouth, you read the newspaper, maybe Walter Cronkite was on the nightly news, but you didn't know really what was going on, how many shootings and gang shootings and mafia hits were going on in New York, or what. You didn't hear about all this stuff. Now you'll get a small town like that. Where was it, in Idaho, where the guy set the fire and then shot the firefighters in the field? Yeah. So we hear about stuff like
Yep.
that
Yep.
where, and instantly
But
we're getting it.
and also it's there's an angle to it, and people subscribe to their angles, right? I just want to talk briefly. I usually talk self-defense on my live streams Thursday nights. I
Mm-hmm.
usually do like I'll bring up 3 or 4 cases of a self-defense shooting.
Right.
I was going to bring this one up. There was a case in downtown Philadelphia over the weekend, and you may have seen it because it was on X and other places, but there was basically a homeless guy kind of executed, for lack of a better word, a woman in the streets, right? They were fighting over something, and then he shot her, and then he went up and she was down on the ground. He went up and shot her again and finished her off, right? And there was some guy kind of across the street filming it all, right? And and I heard some say, immediately on the left say, well, this is just, look, that's just homeless crime that happens all the time. Nothing to see here, nothing to
Right.
report, nothing to see here. And then some people freaked out because they're like, no, this is like horrific. Like, this dude just executed someone. Then, of course, our one of our saviors, CBS, News,
Yeah.
who always gets it right,
Sure.
interviews an eyewitness, and the eyewitness says, "Oh, she was waving a gun, and so he took the gun and shot her. So it was self-defense. So the charges got reduced to manslaughter that are pending on this guy, of course. But now there's information coming out. Well, he was trying to stab her with a screwdriver, right? And then she pulled her gun." And then they got into a fight and he took the gun, right? So this is in some sense an unsuccessful self-defense story,
Right. Right.
right? Because he did take the gun from her and use it on her, because maybe she wasn't willing to fire, right?
Right.
But,
You have to.
you know, but you know, none, like 2 or 3 of these levels of the story, like unless you're really dedicated to this story, you're not going to get it.
Right.
You're
You're
not
going to
hear
read the
it.
headline and that's it.
Yeah, you're going to read the headline. You're going to read the headline that your side is wanting you to see.
Yep.
Right. You're not going to get the full story. Right. In fact, there was even, I commented on one of it and said, look, that lady was executed. And then that thing that I commented on was actually community noted with that CBS article that said, look, it was just self-defense. He was protecting himself. Right. And then of course, CBS didn't, correct their article. Oh, well, so I mean, it's just like that. That's what I worry about. So you can subscribe to your vein of truth. All of those statements are true, right? He killed her with 2 shots. That's a true statement.
Mm-hmm.
She was waving a gun. That's a true statement. He had a screwdriver. That's a true statement, right? Those are all segments and slivers of truth. And CBS can say, well, we reported the truth. Yeah, it's just incomplete truth, right? Misleading truth, right? And so
Or they like to lie by omission.
yeah, and maybe they
Omit
didn't
little
know.
parts that,
A lot of these news places, yes, they have a bias, but they also have like a deadline. So they're like, I tried hard enough, good enough, right?
Yep.
And they just move on,
Yep.
right? And so, but I guess my point is I'm worried that our slivers of truth that we're getting, each of us, is we're just going down a route for all of us. Like me, I'm being more radicalized, right? I can't be honest to you, say this didn't make me more radical in my thinking.
Oh yeah, sure.
Right. I mean, I think we're all headed that way. So where is this going? Like, is in 2 years from now, we'll bag that, we'll have our own society, or, our political assassinations far more the norm, are, I don't know. I'm worried though.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be doom and gloom, but I am worried.
No, it's a real, that's a real discussion. It's reality. You can't ignore the reality of the situation. It's kind of like, and I know stories unfold, and it's like you're saying, it's like peeling back the layers of an onion before you finally get to the truth. And sometimes you have to use critical thinking skills, which a lot of people don't have, being that we're both on YouTube and we encounter folks like that. Well, the side note, the ones that really kill me is where you do something in the video and they go, what caliber is that? And you go, it literally says in the title, or what, you're like, did you not watch the video? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But I think some of it takes critical thinking skills, and like you said, people don't want to spend the time doing that. And it's just these are questions that have to be asked, even
My
if there's
favorite
not.
one, Matt, lately is, I don't know why, but I'm getting a lot of them, and they're on older videos that are out. But I've done a lot of testing on 380 ACP.
Yeah.
Part of it was for personal curiosity. Part of it is that seemed to be what people were willing to watch on my channel. And I get into something and I'm like, okay, well, did that work? And what about this? And someone asked me a question. I'm like, well, gosh, I don't know. Let's go try that. And, but I just get these one-liners right now that say 380 ACP jacketed hollow points don't expand. And yet I've just done 30 videos with organic gel, with water, with clear ballistic gel, with t-shirts, with, all with plyboard, showing there's a lot of rounds that actually do expand and get plenty deep in penetration. But I'm just like, you make that comment. You didn't even watch the video. You didn't watch this video. You didn't watch any of the other videos. You didn't, like, they don't watch the video. They see the title. 3 at ACP doesn't expand.
And then that's it. Yeah. Yep, I know.
Like,
So
okay.
there's a lot of that. But that's like this story initially. If you did you hear the story? I think it was in Seattle where the one guy shot the wheelchair veteran.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you watch if you were to watch the video.
With the 4-second draw time.
Yeah, no shit. Like you were not in danger there, pal. But of course they arrested him, all this other stuff. But if you watch the video and you think, oh shit, this guy in the wheelchair had a knife,
Mm-hmm.
and then he looks like he's pulling out a gun, turned out to be an airsoft, but the other guy didn't know, and he pulls out his gun and shoots him. But then as the story unfolds, you're like, this guy's got a prior history of like trying to run over, he got convicted in another state of running over like a Republican polling station, all this other kind of shit. Apparently he went up there to the veteran, which turned out to be a real veteran because he was saying he was fake, and wanted to see his DD-214 and was attacking him and stuff like that. And then to claim self-defense from a guy who was trying to chase after you in a wheelchair that can go 2 miles an hour, you could literally walk away and, and you stole his property. So he initiated this. You don't get to claim self-defense when you're the aggressor. When you initiate the violent contact and then go, oh, well, I was in self-defense. No, if you had just walked by and left the guy alone, none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that. But
Yeah, that was a bad shoot.
That was bad. That was a bad one.
And I remember looking at it, it's like, this guy's like, he's not reacting and drawing a gun. He's like deliberately drawing a gun. Like he had like one of those merces, and he's just like,
oh yeah, he had the merce, and he took his stance, and he put one hand, and you're like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Yep. Yeah. Apparently, though, he's a well-known asshole in that area, or whatever. I've heard reports about
not
that.
surprising.
But yeah, not surprised at all.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, where do we go from here? I don't know. I hope things calm down. It didn't look like we went into a second civil war after all that craziness in the 60s and 70s. It kind of started to calm down. But I don't know. I don't
know, in some sense, but maybe the common hatred for the Vietnam War brought us together, and we had the big movement of rock and roll, and that was coming on too, and I think some of those things kind of brought the country out of it a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, and we ended terrible Carter and got that economic boom with Reagan in the 80s. I think when a lot of people are doing well and they have money in their pockets and they don't have a lot of shit to complain about, maybe they won't be out there doing this type of crazy stuff. Although but we also closed the hospitals down. I've been saying this for freaking decades. I lived in, I got out of the Army in 95. I stayed in Washington. I was at Fort Lewis, and I moved out there into a little town called Lakewood right outside of Fort Lewis, and they still had a mental hospital there, and this was 95. But they closed all the mental hospitals and said, oh, we'll let all the people out and they could be treated at home with drugs and by their family. And now the cops end up being mental health counselors, and our jails are full of mentally ill people. And
that, I think, you read some of the old stories about dudes getting their wives committed because they were tired of them. And then,
how
parents.
True is that, though?
I'd imagine there's some truth to that, but
sure, some of them.
but and then you read, just like accidental castration of people, and there was some nightmarish stuff that happened in them. These were government-run institutions. How well run could they have been? Right. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I don't think we can have a society, if we don't want violence in our society, then we can't have a society that has these people on the streets.
Yeah. And let's remember, mental illness is different than like other illnesses like kidney disease, heart disease, cancer. Certain cancers. There are some things where you get brain tumor, it makes you go loopy. But diseases of the mind can make people see things that aren't there, hear things that aren't there, act out violently on things that That's a lot different than other illnesses of the body. And so they need to be treated different. And they're a lot more, apparently, they're a lot more difficult to treat successfully. But yeah, there's some of these folks have got to be supervised. And they've made it so, they've swung the other way where they made it so hard to commit people.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, well, and then you even just get to, like, again, the thing over the weekend with the Ukrainian refugee, right? Like, this guy was 14 times and let off the
14
rail,
times. Yeah.
let off of any bail on a pinky swear that he'd come back to court. Like, I mean, that dude was just like clinically insane,
Yeah.
right? And
And they
violent,
unleashed them on the neighborhood, on the people of that neighborhood.
like that, like, and the judge who did that, call her a judge. She has no law training.
Yeah.
She was appointed as political favors and got a job.
Yep.
And then her part-time gig was running a care facility, halfway home for criminals, right? Who were out on patrol or parole.
Yep.
Right. So rehabilitation of criminals. So it was all in her favor to send these guys. Oh, you're going out. By the way, here's my card. You can come from my place. I get government money to support.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's like, it was all a racket, and you're like, what the freak, and then, like, people have to be locked up. I mean, and there's just all this crazy crap around that. But so I don't know.
Yeah. It's insane. So, all right, let's switch it up a little bit here.
Okay.
And talk about CC9.
Yeah.
Glock 43 video. I watched that when I'm glad you shot at iron sights, by the way. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually putting a lot more dots.
I did the SIG. I did SIG versus CC9, P365 versus CC9. My intention was, because my SIG P365 that's in the short configuration isn't optics cut.
Right.
So I was going to do, iron sights for iron sights, and then I was going to do optics for optics, because I had the Glock 43X Koa. That's a great optic, right? I figured, I love shooting with the optic. I might as well. And then I brought both setups to go to the range, and I was going to remove the red dot at the range, and I didn't bring the right Torx bit. I was so mad at myself.
I hate it when that happens.
Shooting it without an
I hate it when that happens. That's why that's why I like just having to go out my backyard.
That's amazing.
Like, damn it. If I forget something, I go, damn it, I got to drive 200 yards back to the house and get it instead of a half hour like I used to have to in Virginia. Yeah. So, yeah, I get to the point where I pack I got one of those side-by-sides UTVs. It's got a box full of every single caliber of ammo I could think of, front sight tools, wrenches, screwdrivers, all kind extra staples, whatever for my staple gun, all kinds of stuff, because I'm like, damn it, I get frustrated, get all set up, and I'm like, I can't believe I forgot my mic or something like that,
The next thing, I have a feeling you're going to be building a shed out there soon.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it, but we got to get through. I sent you those pictures. We got to get through all the renovations in our house that we're doing. So, but which one, if I might have missed it, maybe you didn't say, which one do you like better? I don't think, did you mention it in the video?
Yeah, I don't think I said it.
I don't think you did. Yeah.
It's a hard one for me. There's a couple of points though, and I'll tell you, I had no intention until recently of actually keeping that CC9. So I have a friend who's an HK fanboy. He was going to get the HK. He was talking to me about the CC9. He's like, oh, the CC9 is so great. And after a while of talking to me, I was like, hey, why don't you let me buy it? I'll buy it. I'll run some tests on it, do some videos, and then I'll sell it to you. Like, I'll take some money off, because now a used gun. We'll do FFL transfers. And of course, YouTube, we're not doing promoting selling of any guns or anything like that. But that was the plan. But I actually just told him, you're not getting this back. You're going to have to buy your own. So here's the thing that I can't get over with the Glock 43X is the shield mag. So 10 rounds feels too too much for that, too little for that size of gun.
Mhm.
It's much bigger. Like the width of the gun is pretty long. There's a
Right.
lot of guns you can get that have a grip that long of a profile with the
Is it
43.
Glock 19 size but thinner?
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it is. It definitely is. Yeah, it's the same size grip.
Okay, because I
Um,
have the 43, but
yeah,
not the 43X.
it's just a little longer. Yeah, the grip's
Oh,
just a
okay.
little longer in the X. Yes, exactly right. Um, and yeah, so the 43 is more like a compact size grip, length grip, and then the 43X is more like the oh, so I meant subcompact, and then the 43X is like
It's
the
not compact, right?
yeah. But so if I had to choose between them, and I couldn't own both, which is actually the route I'm going, um, I might right now probably go with the HKCC9. And my justification for that is the magazines. Like the you have to go aftermarket. You have to go Palmetto or um, or Shield Arms to go with the 15 round magazines. Otherwise, it's a 10 round magazine from Glock. And you can run the plastic mags from them, and you can say, hey, it's just 10 rounds, and I'm good with that. But I would like more. HK,
Hmm.
since my videos, has already come out with flush fit 15 round magazines for the CC9.
That's good.
And so from HK, and so I, like that is like the weak point of many guns, and I've watched many of your videos. Weak point of a lot of 1911s is the magazine,
The
right?
magazine.
And
Yep.
so yes, Shield Arms, great innovation. Thank you. Also, Palmetto State Armory, great innovation. But there's just been like sometimes it's not locking back. I've had a couple of weird failures. I don't know that I can attribute it to the magazine or not, or ammo.
Right.
Again, I try a lot of weird varieties of ammo. Um, and so, but so there's just a question. The same is
Right.
true,
Enough to give you pause.
enough to give me pause.
Yeah.
And with the HK, it's got the HK reputation. So far, so good. A lot of reviewers are saying it just
Yeah.
works. And there's a potential that you'll get the flexibility of the P365 because it has the fire control unit or the, whatever swappable thing. And so, I wish the texture were better. Wish it were
Yeah.
a little more grippy. But other than that, it's a very nice shooting gun. You're not going to say, "Oh, this is the best trigger ever." But what micro
Right.
compact do you say this is the best trigger ever for? I mean, I don't.
Right. That was the RMSC pattern, right? For the
Yep.
dot.
For
Yeah.
the dot, it's
Yeah.
RMSC. They did it right. Yep. The plate. And by the way, I do have 3 videos already filmed doing ballistic testing with common ammo. So federal, uh, federal Hornady, and I don't know, one other. And so just 3, plus P 124 grain self-defense rounds with ballistic gel with the tests, because you always worry if with this shorter barrel, the micro barrel, are you going to get expansion, are you going to
Right.
get deep enough penetration, and it it performs well. But I ran those with an optic on it, and I liked it even better when running with an optic. And then you look at the P365, it has that trigger return spring. The P365 probably won't shoot you. Although
Probably.
I
Yeah.
did have a friend of the family who did shoot themselves in the buttocks with the P365. I reached out to figure out, oh, maybe the P365 is going off, and he was
Right.
man enough to say, no, I screwed up when I was reholstering.
That's usually when you have an issue. Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
see.
So I say that man enough instead of just
Yep.
blaming
Mhm.
Sig, which is very easy right now. He manned up
Right.
and said, yeah, it was I just shot myself, which is bad. But yeah, so that trigger return spring that can fail. I've seen
Yeah.
3 or 4 people. I've been at classes and at matches, and they've just failed on people. Now
I've
mine has
I've
never
seen
failed,
videos of
but
people shooting those, and one guy he's like, trigger return. I don't remember what channel it was or what, but they're like,
yeah,
365 trigger return spring broke, and he broke out a little baggie. He's like, this is why we
yep,
carry like extra, and I'm like, really? You have to do that? Like, come
yeah,
on, man. Tell somebody make an aftermarket like thicker, heavier gauge spring
There,
or
there are.
something.
There
Uh-huh.
are. In fact, I just got some that I'm going to try out, but there's that. So that's in the
Yeah.
back of
Yeah.
time with 365. And then,
Mm-hmm.
is so at any given point, is my trigger not going to work? Right. And so
Right.
given all of those things between those three, and I've had the Dagger C1. I have a few videos, micro Dagger C1, which is like a Glock 43X clone.
Mm-hmm.
So get based on all of those. I think the CC9 is the one to carry.
My problem with the CC9 and I haven't shot it yet, but just looking at, you got the HK price.
Yeah.
I personally think.
I mean, it's the price of a SIG P365, just to be fair.
Oh, okay. I thought it was close to 8 something. Is that what SIGs are? Oh.
No, you can get them sub 6.
Oh, okay. Well, I stand corrected. In that case, that's really good.
Yeah.
But one thing I think that now I heard that HK had been developing this pistol for 7 years and they wanted it to wait till it was absolutely perfect to release it. And I respect that. But what I think they missed out on was I guess, is that considered a micro 9? It is a micro 9,
Yes,
right?
it's a
Yeah.
micro.
I think they missed out on the micro 9 rat race because to me,
Yeah.
it seems like people are getting one, polymer striker fire fatigue for the guns. I know
Yeah.
I am. I've sold a lot of guns and going back. I mean, I already had like 4 Berettas, but now I have like 7 or something like that. Going back to the 92
Yeah.
style Berettas and stuff like that, the double single action pistols. And it seems like people are trending to bigger guns, or even revolvers are getting a little bit of a resurgence and stuff like that. So I think they missed out on dropping that during that craze of the micro 9s, the shields and the 43s and all those guns. But it does have that HK,
Yeah, I think you're going to get
reputation.
HK fanboys who
Yes.
probably can get one of those because they're running their P30 SK or whatever it is. So they never jumped into the micro 9s.
Yeah.
And then I think it's not a bad time. Think about it for a second. There are a lot of people right now. I'm mostly blaming you, by the way, but there are a lot of people right now who will not buy a SIG product ever
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And they may own one and they may be saying, I want to get rid of it. What am I going to choose?
Yeah.
So they may have come at a decent time into the market. Now, the question will be, and actually, I'm surprised, faster than the Ruger RXM, in my opinion. I think you can buy different colored lowers, like grip frames, not different sizes, but different colors. So if you can get I think you can get a flat dark earth, you can get a bunch of stuff like that. So there are a bunch of different options that HK is coming out with it to support it. When that'll, I think, be very important. So yeah, they're into the competition, but I don't know. I don't think it hurt them in the end. If they'd come out 5 years ago, it would have been better. I don't think they have a tactical advantage of saying they worked on it for 7 years, because everyone's like, okay, well, I want to see it. Like in 4 years from now, and no one has an issue with an HK, and then people will say, oh yeah, it's that worked out. But
Yeah.
like already, even though like I've heard of extractor issues, some guy wrote on my channel saying, oh yeah, I got mine, and I had to send it back because all the coating on the barrel flaked off, right, and was rusting underneath or something crazy like that. And so
Dang.
so there's typical, I'm sorry, but it is typical, like all big manufacturers have these QC errors,
Of
right?
course.
Now so it's going to happen. Now how well it holds up, but is there a fatal flaw, right? Is there a something that comes up like the trigger return spring on this P365 that everyone just knows, yeah, you're taking your chances carrying that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you remember, I don't know if you remember seeing this, but Military Arms Channel, Tim, when the P365 first came out, the very first generation to release one, it was breaking striker,
Yeah,
excuse me,
the
striker
striker.
bit. And it was because it had massive drag because it was out of
Yep,
time. It was unlocking
yep.
too soon. And there were all these issues. And now it still has, trigger return spring thing. And there's some videos out there where people are pinning the trigger back. And it only happens on certain ones. They're pulling the trigger on the 365. It won't go off. And then they shake it and it fires, you know.
I have a video of mine doing that.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So my story was I bought one of those just FCUs. Remember they call them the tin version. This is their premier elite SIG elite version with an improved trigger and all tin coated. So I was into P365s and I'm into different grips on it. And so I was like, I kind of want a second one, but I don't want to buy, I have all the parts. Like I just want to assemble it the way I want it. I don't want a whole bunch of extra parts again. So I just bought that. And then, but the first time assembling it together, I put it into my frame and put on a slide and I racked the slide and I pulled the trigger, just as you do at your bench, and nothing happened. You can hear when the striker goes off.
Oh, right? Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And nothing happened. I'm like, dang, what is going on? I racked it again, pulled the trigger, nothing's happening. Like, what the freak is going on? And then I looked at it and I went like that and then tang, like, oh my gosh, what is going on? So I racked the slide, pull the trigger, shake it a little bit, tang. I will say this is early in my YouTube days.
Okay.
I was more afraid of taking this to the range and maybe not, like I wasn't very confident in my own abilities, like just with the camera and doing this all on camera and so I did a little video of me just showing that shake and the tang, but it would have I probably would have been a much bigger channel by now if I'd just gone to the range and showed it firing like that. Yeah. I learned that later with my Beretta 80X and it has the faux safety on it. And rather than just showing it in a tabletop, I brought it to the range and showed people, and that got a lot more attention. But anyway, I have the SIG video up on my channel of the shake. I call it the Shake Awake. I don't know if that's what I call it in the video, but I think I call it SIG FCU fail or something like that. But
there's a guy. I think is it Tactical Advisor. I don't know. Go quote me on that chat. I think that's it. He did it like 2 years ago. And then when my video came out, all this other bullshit was swirling around and it was all going crazy and there was a frenzy. He was like, I told y'all, you didn't listen to me 2 years ago. And this whole thing with the SIG, let's not forget, like there started to be reports and body cam footage of this stuff like way back in 2014, 15. Yeah. And people, and to be fair, we've been around guns a long time, okay? A lot of competition should have been around guns a long time, decades and decades. And for the most part, to be fair, when something like that with a firearm happens, it's usually negligence on the shooter's part. It's usually human error to do that. Not all the time. So for for people to be like, it's definitely happening. It's definitely not happening. It's come on. I mean, you can't rule that out just because the ones I love is you'll get, maybe you got it. Well, it doesn't do it on my 365, so it's not real. So yours is okay, so it's not real. Yeah. Like, all right, but
you get that. It's so funny, right?
You get that all the time.
It's like, okay, well now like with my bodyguard, I have two of them.
Yeah.
Like, and I have one that does and one that doesn't. So that shows like, okay, and to some extent, I also do appreciate people putting in my comments, saying, well, I have 3 of these and none of them do that, because that gives you a sense of how random these failures are, how poor their quality control is. This 1 in a million, right? Because I'm a sample of 1 most of the time.
Yes.
Right. And so to some extent, I get that, but it's often associated with not just saying mine is fine. It's usually some other derogatory comment along with, well, mine is fine.
Oh yeah. You're an effing idiot. Mine doesn't do it. So you're, what? No, you and I have discussed this before. I have the bodyguard. I bought it when it first came out. I don't have any of those issues of it. I've seen video and I don't dismiss, never have dismissed anybody having those issues with that gun. Mine didn't have the little ridge on the internal feed ramp where it hangs up. Mine didn't have that. It didn't shoot left Now it is difficult to shoot because of how wide the rear sight is, but they,
Yeah.
they did that for a reason. It's not a target gun; it's a
Right.
combat concealed carry gun. And for people who don't know, the idea is you put that little orange ball anywhere in that rear sight, and you're going to get a hit. You might not get exactly where you're aiming, but you're going
Yeah.
to get a hit. They're quicker to get on target. Also, but so I didn't have those issues. The reliability has been fine. I've got 400, which is not a lot, but I got over 400 rounds through it. Matter
For
of
a
fact, I got
micro
to
gun,
shoot it.
for
Yeah,
for a little pocket gun, yeah.
yeah. And so I haven't had any issues. The issue I did have was trying to get the recoil spring back in or out or something.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. So I've
That
heard of
Galloway
that.
Precision, if you ever want to replace it, the Galloway Precision recoil spring rod or whatever is
Mhm.
great. Works great.
Yeah, I've had people when I mentioned that in my review on the tabletop part, it's like I can't get the spring in or
Yeah,
how I couldn't remember exactly what it was. And some people have said, yeah, I've had the same thing happen too.
yeah,
Magazines were very hard to load initially, but I leave them loaded and they're not
yeah.
too
They
bad
loosen.
now.
Yep.
So they loosen up. So I have seen from what I have seen now with your videos, with some other channels' videos, and with my personal experience, um, I think you're right. It's hit or miss. I don't know the percentage of hit or miss,
Yeah.
but it is hit or miss. Hey, I just want I noticed Old Man Life.
Oh,
He's got
fun.
a channel. Yeah, he's saying hello. What's going on? He's got a channel. Go check him out. He does some funny stuff on his channel with SIG
I want to
stuff. And
I want to call out Ozzy Osbourne. He
yeah,
sent me an amazing uh, Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 holster with an Asian cobra inlay skin on it. Just
nice.
kind of said, "Hey, I want to send this in to you," and I tried to pay him for it. He's just a nice guy, and
That's awesome.
so I have a little short showing it off. But that's freaking awesome. I love that.
That's
It's like one of my
awesome.
most prized possession holsters there. So thank
Yeah,
you.
that's awesome. Yeah. Ted Collins says we are beta testing for, yeah, we are. I mean, a lot
Yeah.
of these companies, they beta test. And I guess that's one good thing about the HK. You can say they didn't use us as beta testers if they took them 7 years to do that stuff.
Yeah, and and that I mean, there's something to that. We'll see. We'll see what the quality control
Mhm.
is. Here's my fear with the HK. I said all those good things about it. This call me un-American, call me unpatriotic with the flag hanging in the background. This was made and designed in the US. I wish it were made and designed in Germany. I'm just
Right,
saying.
right.
I'm just
No,
saying I wish the HK was made and designed and
listen,
manufactured in
I
Germany.
want to touch on that a little bit. I watched this channel called Smarter Every Day. And it's this guy, his name is Destin, and he's got millions of subscribers. And he talks about, I think he was like a literal rocket scientist down in Alabama at the,
Hmm.
I forget what the name of the rocket NASA thing down there.
Red,
Anyway,
yeah.
he does a
Redstone.
lot. That's it. I think it's down there. And so he does a lot of stuff on all kinds of topics, making bullets hit each other and sciencey stuff, and filming arrows with slow-mo cameras where you see them flex in the air. Just great stuff. And he talks about he wanted to manufacture. It's about a month old or so. He wanted to manufacture something in the U.S. And they decided on this grill brush that uses like chainmail, so it doesn't have all those little bristles that can get swallowed and break off on the grill. And so the difficulty I would ask everybody to go watch that video, and just to realize the difficulty he went through. It was years for him and his partners to try to get a grill brush made in the United States, completely made in the United States. He gives so many convincing examples of where China is just whipping our ass. Say what you want about the Chinese, but they have
Yeah,
completely taken over all the manufacturing. Effectively, we do not have a manufacturing base in the United States anymore. He
yeah,
he couldn't even get a damn grill brush completely made in the USA anymore because we have lost all our manufacturing capacity.
yeah.
These ideas are like, oh, make the cell phones in the USA and all this kind of stuff. We don't. It's going to take us a decade plus to gear up and even get all that stuff. That
Right.
China's far ahead of us on making. They don't make They do still make some junk, but they make some high-end stuff nowadays. I mean, think
Yeah,
about all the red dots. Where do they come from? China.
China.
And what's aim point? Sweden?
Yeah.
I think they're Sweden, right? Yeah, Sweden. And then maybe Trigicon is made in the USA. I'm not sure, but 99% of them come from China.
Well, all the electronics, even on the
Right.
Trigicon, come from overseas. So yeah.
There you go.
So I agree. I mean, it's a rough one. So, but that's my one caveat with the HK. It was designed, manufactured in the U.S. And if I know anything about the SIG, when they left and completely got the Germans out of it, that's when you can. That's the one marketed decision you can see. It was post that there was a significant dip. Well, it
Yes.
started before that, but for
Yes.
sure the closing of the plant was the nail in the coffin.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Jason from the Texas Gun Vault is in here. That's my buddy Jason. What's up, Jason? Um, no, you're 100% right. It seems like when they bring it to the US, it seems like the Japanese and the Germans are like very detail oriented and QC oriented,
Yep.
much more than the US. You know, US is like, get it out the door. We don't, let them fix it. and
Here's my completely, I've watched so much media that now I feel like I can spout facts that aren't real, right? That are made up
right.
in my mind, but I believe
Yep.
them so passionately they have to be a fact. But here's one of those so-called facts that I believe it's really just made up in my mind is that I think that SIG got rid of the German plant because those engineers wouldn't go along with the changes they wanted to make to the pistols. Putting in the Indian parts, putting in the MEM parts, putting in I think they
Yep.
basically decided we've got to make money and we've got to divorce ourselves. These guys are just troublemakers. They aren't going along with the new direction of the company. We've just got to close this down.
I agree. That definitely could be.
That's a theory.
Exactly.
That's a
No,
theory.
no,
That's a fact.
that's a valid theory. I also think one of the other reasons was if you remember, they lost the contract in the 80s to the Beretta, and it was close, and it was only based on price. I think they were waiting like rabid dogs for that contract to come back open. And as soon as it did, they jumped. And it's my opinion that they're losing money. There's been people out there that have run the numbers and said that, it's anywhere from 179 bucks to about $190 per pistol to the government.
That's crazy.
You got to be losing money. You got to be losing money at that price.
Have you ever watched Primary Secondary?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I went back to a 2017 modcast
Hmm.
on there, and there were guys on there that were part of the selection, and they were dogging Glock. And the reason they were dogging Glock was Glock would not give them their technical data package. Like they wouldn't give the design information, but SIG was more than willing to give it all up. And they were like, see, Glock's just trying to hide stuff. They're trying to, not share with the government. And they felt very justified. And I was just like, gosh, watching this show with the knowledge I have now, they screwed the pooch because some of those guys were part of that selection that he had on the channel. So it's interesting to go back and listen to some of these things.
I don't think it's a coincidence either that you hear a lot of these guys that were involved with this all of a sudden get these magic dream jobs at SIG when, and it's not, the Colt did that too when the
Yep.
I forget the general's name, but when the Marsoc guys took the Colt, what's that, the Colt, now I'm having a brain fart. The Marine Corps back in like 2012, 2014,
The
somewhere around there,
upper?
the bought Colt 1911s and that
Oh yeah,
desert,
yeah,
the
yeah,
M45, the
yeah,
M45,
yeah.
and they bought a contract for that. The general that like signed off on that contract went to Colt worked for Colt for like 10 years or what. I mean, come on, man, come
Yeah.
on, like,
Yeah, it was bad.
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. But no, I agree. I think there was that. I also think they moved to the U.S. because I'm sure part of the contract, just like Beretta had when they moved to Accokeek, Maryland, um, was it had to be made in the U.S. I'm
Yeah.
sure that was one of the parameters, was that the pistol had to be manufactured in the U.S. So they started all their U.S. stuff in preparation to get that military contract. And I think what they were doing was kind of smart. They undercut Glock. I mean, they cut them off at the knees with the price, and
Yeah.
they knew they were going to lose money. But if you're selling to the government at 190 a pistol, but us civilians are buying them, because I bought one because it's a military pistol. Us civilians are buying them at $650, $700 a pop, when it probably cost them 250. They just made $500 per pistol in the civilian market. And then there's also been reports that they're overselling, overpricing them to foreign countries and making money there too. So
Well, I also think that I think it was you who kind of discovered that, and some of those other testers on the SIG, some of the specifications were originally saying that it was supposed to have been stamped,
yeah,
instead ended up being mimed.
yep,
Um, again, cost cutting, stamped in the U.S. by U.S. engineers versus just outsourced to India.
Mind in India, yep,
Yep.
yeah. Let's not for. I mean, okay, so little history here for people that don't know. The SIG released the 250 in the early, what was it, 2010s, somewhere around there, which is the exact same gun. All right, just hammer fired. Well, it sold like crap, apparently, because nobody wanted a double action only hammer fired gun at that time. Everybody was on striker fired polymer guns. Glocks were going bonanza. Everybody was trying to come out with the M&Ps. Everybody was trying to rush to market um, a polymer frame striker fire handgun. So the 250 failed, and they just retrofit
Yeah.
this Rube Goldberg stuff inside that make it fit in this gun, and they use the same gun. Then they lied. There's videos out there of Yankee Marshall. He compares it, and he says he talks to SIG guys at the booth at SHOT Show. Same thing with Nothing Fancy.
Because
And they're like,
guys in a
no, no,
booth are
no. It's a
totally honest.
completely different gun. It's a completely, what are you talking
These
about?
guys
Don't
in a booth never lie.
never
They
lie.
always know the truth.
Yeah.
Just like the same Beretta guy who said the 80X had you could carry it cocked and locked, and then if you do, the trigger will pull on like 80 to 90% of the guns, and you'll shoot yourself. So like never trust the booth guy. But at any rate,
No, yeah. Well, have you seen the SIG 226 Legion, the videos of the single action only where they're putting the thumb safety on? Same thing, they pull the trigger and it fall. Like, come on, guys. Like, now, I don't know about the Beretta 80X. Did Beretta address that, or did they make a recall? Did they? Because
they did not, because if you read the manual, which by the way they don't ship, you have to
well, I'm
QR
sure it's
code it.
online. Yeah.
QR code it and download it, so it's not in your box. But if you read the manual, it clearly states the only position you can carry it in is with the hammer down. That goes back into double action mode, and then you can put the safety on. But you cannot put the safety on with it cocked. It's just not possible, and that's pretty clear in the manual. But Hickok 45 said that. Ian McCullum said that. There's interviews of people interviewing the Beretta guy at the booth. Oh yeah, you can carry it cocked and locked. Like, and the thing is some guns work that way, but it's faux. And if you like push the trigger a little bit to the left, it will fire. Like it'll feel like it's disengaged, like the trigger's disengaged.
Right.
But you keep doing it a bunch of times, you push it just a little bit left, it'll engage and fire. So I've got a video on that. But like I think I have like what Hickok 45 and Ian McCullum or Forgotten Weapons got wrong on the 80X or
I
something.
think I remember that.
Yeah, but it's I mean it's they're just telling you, they're making up stuff in the booth. But no, but that's I didn't understand it honestly, candidly, until you explained it. I'd heard it many times that the P320 was designed by the for the P250, right? Or and that shift from the hammer fired or striker fired to hammer fired, because all the safety was self-contained in the lower, to where it was split between the upper and the lower. And that split then introduced tolerance stacking that would never be there if it were still a hammer fired pistol.
Oh yeah. No,
And
it's yeah.
your explanation on that, I just didn't get it until I was watching your videos on that. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that is That totally could be the whole reason
with with the hammer fired gun, you're not all the internals are in the frame, so you could hit the slide all you want. It's not gonna go,
Right. And
So,
and fitment issues that are going to happen, all between slide and frame, you're just not going to have that issue.
Yep. And you have to design, I believe you have to. Maybe one of the most important things, in my opinion, is the human factor. What is a human going to do with this thing? You got to try to figure out all the ways that a human is going to use this product incorrectly. So
Yeah.
with the thing with the Beretta, of course there's going to be somebody that does, and it puts the safety on, is like, yeah, I'm going to John Wing it like a 1911 and carry it cocked and locked.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so why would you even say, well, what the manual says? Come on, dog. See, that's a something on Beretta they should fix and either redesign it so that it can be carried cocked and locked, or
Yeah.
prevent it.
Well, and what's worse is when you put the safety into that position, you hear a click. It's a faux click. Like you can physically feel it and you can audibly hear the click. So you think it's locked, but you have to keep pushing, and then the slide will go through and we'll drop the hammer in a safe way from decocking. But it's an odd thing. And again, if you know it, it's fine. But what if you get all your knowledge from YouTube, which you never trust a YouTuber,
Right.
but so many people do.
Yeah. Well, and also, what if you sell the gun? What if somebody inherits the gun? What if they don't know?
And I didn't download the manual, and that link is bad.
Ouch.
Right? Tech obsolescence, that never happens.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, it's funny we talk about this because Jason from the Texas Gun Vault that was in here earlier, he just recently did a video on the SIG. Is it 227? 2022 or something like that? It was a polymer framed P series gun.
Mm-hmm.
And he was showing how he reviewed one years ago. And I'll probably get this wrong, but if you're interested in the video, go watch his video. And it had like these false resets when you go out to reset. So you would fire the gun, and SP 2022. Thanks, Jason. SP 2022. It would have false resets. And he mentioned that in the video, and then he got, of course, the SIG fanboys coming in like, "You're an idiot! Mine doesn't do it." So he went and bought one, and the one he bought doesn't do it either. Then he got, or I'm getting it either reverse. Anyway, he got two. He got a very limited edition of the Flat Dark Earth model, and it does it, but his black one doesn't do it. So again, we're back talking about the inconsistencies. But it's got he pulls the trigger, racks it, pulls the trigger, lets it out slowly, and you can audibly hear like click, click, and it got to go all the way out before it resets. The other one, it doesn't do it. It just goes out, and then
this
no hitch
kills it too. On that 80X, some guns I saw online, people trying what I was doing, and some people, there was no safety. Like if you put it in that position, you could just pull the trigger and it would fire. And there were some people, no matter what amount of pressure you push sideways on that trigger, it would never fire. Right. So it was truly like
That's poor design. That's poor design. You should design it so that it fails safely. If it fails, not like not like that. But what was I going to say that I forgot? Oh, going back to with the defensive shooting, I wanted to throw this in there real quick because it just popped into my head because I'm getting old and I forget stuff, and then it pops back in my head sometimes. Where the guy took the gun from the lady. This is the other thing you'll see. Just side note for people. Firearms are distance weapons. They excel at distance. Now, not great distance, but you need to put distance between yourself and the target, because don't come up on people and putting it,
right.
They can snatch it from you. There's an example right there. Get space in between you and the aggressor. Never
they're not great. I mean, they are, but I mean, if you have no intention of using it, it's not
don't ever pull it out.
Yeah, don't pull it out.
Yeah, don't ever pull it out. If you're gonna pull that sucker out, you've already made up your mind that you're gonna use it. That's my opinion. Don't try to flex or brandish to people or whatever. But another thing I thought about, have you seen the video on some of the new releases like the Taurus 66 Combat? Have you seen a
I saw
video from?
yours. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, with the
Didn't you just come out with the Taurus 66 Combat?
no, that's a new release that came out, like I think they just dropped it a couple days ago, a week ago maybe.
I thought I saw your channel with it. Sorry.
Well,
I did think I see it. It looks gorgeous.
it's like a 7-shot
Yeah.
unfluted cylinder,
Yeah.
3-inch barrel, fiber optic, 357 Magnum, double action
Yeah.
only. There was a channel that did do it, and I reposted the video. I put a post
Maybe
out about
that's
it.
what I saw.
That's probably what it
Yeah.
is. Said, hey, go
Okay.
check out his. Comes with hoe grips and all sort of kind of stuff. Um, I think the MSRP. I think Taurus is stretching a little bit with this one. The MSRP on that is $999. So $1,000 for a Taurus is,
Yeah.
and I like Taurus. I think they're okay. I think they are improving. I think they're on somewhat of a redemption arc with their quality and some of the designs they're coming out with, and the thinking outside the box, especially their Toro revolvers,
The
the
ones that
red
are
dot,
ready.
yeah, the optics ready ones. But $1,000, like
Yeah, Taurus.
that's yeah for a
Yeah.
Taurus revolver. Now I have seen
That
street
you can
price
get
around
a
850.
686 plus for pretty close to the same.
That's what I'm kind of. That's what I'm kind of getting at. I'm going, hold on, wait a minute. Now there have been reports, and I have experienced this with most of my Smiths and Rugers and stuff like that. It seems like they're struggling with QC stuff lately. I've seen reports of it, videos of it, and I have experienced it with my Smiths. But I'm still at the point now that if I had to pony up just an extra $100 or $150, I kind of would go with the Smith. Although I think Taurus is good.
I
They
think
have
your
kind,
resale is going to be a lot better with the Smith revolver than
yes,
Taurus.
yes,
So you're
and
going to lose that money.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, and I think companies, regardless of what widget they make, I think companies that set themselves up as a budget brand really struggle to convince people to buy a premium product from them.
Yeah.
Uh, it'd be hard for High Point to come out with a $2,000 custom 1911. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas companies like Daniel Defense could probably, because they are a high-end rifle maker, or LWRC, or POF or whatever, if they came out with a budget branded AR, let's say around $1,000, which would be a budget brand for a high-end AR maker, they would probably sell a lot more, because people would be like, this is a POF AR, and you're like, well, it's
Yeah.
kind of their budget line. But I think companies that are set up as premium whatever have an easier time of putting out affordable products as opposed to going the other direction. It
Yeah.
just,
I
you
think
know,
you just, in the back of your mind, you have all those stories you hear from people, am I going to get bit? Like, it's probably made in the same factory. It's kind of like my issue. I'm sorry. I get a little frustrated with some of the channels that just endlessly dog PSA.
mhm.
They deserve some of it in some ways, but like they just have such a blinder on that's the only filter they have in their life.
Yeah.
Like I won't mention, there was one that was just like, come on. And then it's like, then when they do something right, then they're like, well, there's a conspiracy of why they're doing this. Right.
Yeah.
Just like, your delusion sometimes goes a little too deep.
Yeah.
Right. But like, that's a problem I have with like getting a saber though from them. Right. Or some of these, they're more expensive lineup. It's like, okay, well, those components you're using look really nice, but it's assembled by the same guys who make the cheap ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm willing to like have to retighten all the screws, realign the gas block, maybe change out the bolt carrier group on my 300 banana leaf rifle.
Right.
But I just paid $1,000 for this one.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I shouldn't have to do that. Like
Right.
if they guarantee like, oh no, these are made in a different factory with higher qualified professionals, then I would probably trust it more. But I'm just like, it's probably the same assembly line. They just change the parts out. And like, quite honestly, it's not my issue with the cheap parts. It's the issue with the assembly that I usually have. So
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I'm not dogging on PSA. I have plenty of PSA products and they have their issues, but I don't think I have PSA derangement syndrome yet.
No, I think I got quite a few PSA products actually, and I bought quite a few different brand guns. Like the newest Beretta I picked up was, I think I got that from PSA.
Yeah,
But
and the
oh no no no, I
resale.
got a new Colt 1911. This
Yeah,
freaking
I mean
I
they're
dropped
just
this.
a gun shop in that case, but the stuff
Yeah,
they
yeah.
manufacture, right?
This stuff
So
they manufacture, is it the best? Probably not. Is it good
yeah.
enough? You know, yeah,
For the
I
person
think
that
it's good
shoots
enough.
3 boxes of ammos every Thanksgiving and maybe once on the 4th of July, that gun's going to
That's
last a long time.
that's what I try to talk about, Dave. I think a lot of people don't realize, a lot of people in our, I call it in our bubble, in our gun tube autistic nerd bubble, where we're like guns, 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 guns. The Second Amendment and guns is like, it's what we do, a lot of us. It's a hobby or whatever you want to call it. But we are in this bubble that most people aren't. Most people, I think, and it could be as high as 80% own, I've said it before, 1 to 4 guns, maybe a revolver or a handgun, a shotgun, a hunting rifle, maybe, a bird gun, whatever. They shoot real, I mean, honestly, people can't believe this that are into this stuff and shoot a lot of rounds. I've had people come in and be like, oh, I don't shoot that. I don't. Most people shoot, they'll go to the range and shoot 50, 100 rounds
Right.
once every 6 months.
Yeah.
Maybe on Labor Day, maybe on 4th of
Yeah.
July. Maybe they get a chance where they bump into somebody and they're like, hey, we're going to go to this outdoor range. You want to shoot this weekend? Sure. They shoot, they put it up, and they usually mag dump into trash and stuff
Yep.
like that. It's no real, you know, actual sit down and practice your fundamentals. It's mag dump into trash, shoot some
And
sodas.
they went to the local Walmart to buy the ammo on the way to the range because they
That's
didn't
right.
have any ammo.
That's right. That's right. No, you're right. And I've had people that be like, I'm gonna save this for, they'll shoot all their ammo and they'll have one magazine. I'm gonna save this for home defense. They have one magazine of
Yeah.
115 grain Winchester white box 9mm ball in their
Yeah.
gun, and they'll take it home, they'll put it away. And it were for folks like that, for the general public that aren't gun enthusiasts, firearms enthusiasts like that, those products are perfectly fine. I liken it to a, I don't even know if the brand's still around, but like Black and Decker drills, like these drills you can buy at Home Depot and stuff like that, that are for home use. They'll help you hang pictures. You can screw a couple things in and out and do stuff like that. They're not for hard industrial use like carpenters and stuff. You want to go get a Milwaukee or a Makita and spend $200-300 on a drill. Now, if a homeowner is walking in, and I used to be a carpenter for a lot of years, so if a homeowner is walking into Home Depot and they say, I need a battery powered drill, and because I want to take apart something or put a bench
Together,
together,
my new IKEA furniture.
there you go. That's what I'm looking for. They're going to
Yeah.
go look around and they're going to go, oh, $30 drill. That's perfect. That'll do. And they only use it once, twice a year,
It's going to
maybe.
last them 10
It's
years, and
going to
they would
last them
think that's a
forever.
great drill.
You hand that to a carpenter and it's not going to make it through one house of
Yeah.
them. A framing carpenter, it won't, so they buy higher end stuff. It's the same thing. The YouTubers, the LARPers, the cops, the stuff like that, they buy higher end, really good stuff. They tend to buy it that will last forever because they train a lot with it.
Yeah.
Most people don't. They just honestly
Yeah.
don't. So Taurus, PSA, all that kind of stuff works just fine for them.
Yeah. Most of the time,
Most
I
of the
think, yeah.
time.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree. Like I worry with the Tauruses. I've heard this before too. Some of their prices still rock bottom, and others of their stuff, they're thinking a lot of themselves. So
Yeah.
I don't know
No,
how well that's going to translate for them. We'll see. I mean, yeah.
that was my issue with it. There's a channel called Nightwood Guns that did a review of one, and he really liked it. And he normally reviews really high end 2011s, Smiths, stuff like that. And a comment I left on his video, I was like, yeah, it looks like it's a cool revolver. I won't dismiss it. It's got, fiber optic front sight. They even chamfered the chambers, the charge holes in the cylinder. So
Right.
for easier reloading, something like, okay, that's a plus right there. But I think people are going to struggle to stretch to that $1,000
Yeah.
for a Taurus. I really think they do.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I mean, I think it's, yeah. And we're in such a rut right now with the gun sales. The gun sales are down. That was another thought. I don't think there's going to be a rush on guns with the Charlie Kirk thing.
No.
I think if there were a different president, there might be,
Yes.
but I think there probably will have to be a few more events or rioting type things,
Yeah.
if for it to happen. And probably, the riots caused the panic buying because it was already on top of a panic of COVID.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And people are like, what is going on? I remember thinking that, like, what the freak is going on? Like, we're
Yep.
locked in our homes and people are rioting in the cities. Like,
Yep.
like, circle the wagons, let's go, and,
Yeah. Oh
and,
yeah.
so, I mean, that was a double panic, boom there. And
Yeah.
so I don't see that happening, but, I remind folks that COVID hit while Trump was president last time. So,
Yep.
you think that the good old days of buying ammo are going to last another 3 years? They may not.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to tell people to panic buy. We
No,
just
no, no,
don't
no, no.
know. Buy what you need and when you need it, and store what you want and all of that. But you just don't know when the next panic comes.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You don't know. But I also think people went out and panic bought all that stuff, and now they're flush with guns and ammo. That's why I think the AR-15 market is just in the toilet.
Yeah,
They are
I
so
think
cheap right now.
the people that were going to buy one have bought one, and now
Yes,
you're looking at people who want their fifth and
their
sixth.
fifth, sixth, seventh,
Yeah,
tenth, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah,
I remember just talking about this attitude. Like, I was talking to a guy, like a painter, I don't know, I can't remember, got on guns. He's like, oh yeah, I got a gun. Like, oh yeah, what'd you get? I got a Smith. Okay, so did you get like trying to,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I got an M&P
Okay,
and I got an AR-15. You get them both of you. How do they shoot? Oh, I haven't got them out to the range yet. I go, when'd you get them? Oh, I got them 2 years ago. Like, there's new in box sitting
yes,
somewhere
this
in the house, and they run great. Right? He's never had an issue with them.
right, right. No, this is what most of the people are. They're
Yeah,
casuals. I call them casuals, and I'm not
yeah,
doing it as an insult. I'm not insulting them. I'm
yeah,
just saying we can't wait. You get a new gun, I can't wait to get it out to the range and shoot. I got to get it
yeah,
out there as soon as I can, shoot that sucker, see if it works, see how it shoots, all that.
yeah.
And this was even before YouTube channels and all that other kind of stuff. I want to get out there and shoot them. And I know people that literally same thing. Oh, I've never fired it, so you don't even know if it works. Like, what do you? But if somebody breaks into your house or
Yes,
whatever, if you ever
yeah.
need to use it, you don't. Now I gotta say, if it was a Glock, maybe, if it was a
I
factory
think it was
Glock,
an
I'd probably be
M&P.
like, okay.
M&P 2.0, it'll probably be
Yeah,
fine, right? And an
yeah,
M&P Sport, he's probably fine.
you're probably fine. Yeah,
But
yeah, that's just that's just crazy to me. Well, we've been going an hour and a half.
yeah.
You want to keep going or?
If you don't mind, I'm headed out of town
Yeah,
tomorrow, so I would love to wind things up.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I want to thank you for having me on. And then
Yeah, absolutely.
I do have another bodyguard video coming up on
Okay.
Sunday. And then I've got and I'd love your comments on it. I've got the one after that is a single action 500 JRH.
Oh,
I'm not a big bore experienced shooter, So I'd love to get your comments on
Oh,
how I'm doing with it. It should be
listen,
hilarious, but
listen, I a 44 Magnum is enough for me. I've said it
yeah,
before. I'm like, I'm not going above 44 Magnum. I'm good with that. You know, I
yeah,
have a 4-inch Smith 629. I'm not I'm not into pain when I shoot guns. I'm a sissy when it comes to that stuff. So
yeah,
44 Magnum's good for me, but then that's going to be a handful.
yeah,
So yeah, thanks for you had me on first. So thank you for
yeah.
that. And then yeah, we'll have to absolutely have to do it again, guys. If you don't know who Trigger Bar Philosopher is, go check out his channel. Um, and thanks for joining us, guys. And we'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Later.